Bill, it does look like more of the same, but actually some key differences in the conflict over this weekend. There were 40...
In the heart of the Sonora Desert, where the wind screams through the jagged rocks, a chilling secret is taking shape. The Sinaloa Cartel has set its sights on something audacious: 20 armored vehicles, over 150 ruthless sicarios, and a deadly arsenal of heavy weapons and tons of C4 explosives. They call it the perfect plan. But is it truly flawless? Under the cover of darkness, the convoy moves undetected, yet unseen eyes from above are silently tracking their every step. Will this bold strike bring the cartel a devastating victory, or is it a trap set to destroy them? Don't look away, because the truth is about to be exposed. Hit subscribe and follow us to unravel the fate of this high-stakes battle. At 4:42 a.m. on August 25th, the Sonora Desert lies in oppressive darkness, broken only by the eerie howl of the wind whipping through the desolate rock crevices. Yet hidden within this vast emptiness, a convoy of heavily armored vehicles advances, carrying the weight of an empire's ambition. The Sinaloa Cartel has pinned its hopes on what they call the perfect plan, a meticulously crafted operation months in the making, mobilizing the largest force since the year's onset. 20 armored pickup trucks, each transformed into a mobile fortress, roll through the desert night. Bulletproof tires, reinforced welded armor plating, and rotating turrets armed with M2 Browning machine guns, PKMs or DSJ 112.7mm guns, turn each truck into an unstoppable force. In the truck beds, carefully secured wooden crates hold RPG-7's grenade launchers and enough C4 explosives to obliterate any checkpoint in their path. Inside the cabs, over 150 sicarios, the cartel's fiercest and most skilled gunmen sit packed together, clad in bulletproof vests and face scarves, with AR-15S and AK-103S resting on their laps, magazines loaded and ready. This isn't smuggling. It's a military operation, one designed to demonstrate the cartel's sheer power. For months, U.S. forces have relentlessly tightened border security, dismantling countless fentanyl smuggling routes. To the Sinaloa Cartel, this is not just a crackdown, it's an insult, a direct hit to their profits and their pride. This raid, meticulously planned, is their response, a bold statement to show they can strike deep into American soil even when they believe they're safe. The target, a small patrol station in Arizona, nothing more than a few steel buildings. But if it's destroyed, the fallout will be seismic, sending shockwaves through the political landscape and spreading fear across the nation. To bring their plan to life, the cartel used every trick in the book. Key figures were bribed, and several border infrared cameras were temporarily disabled. CBP patrol schedules were leaked, revealing critical gaps. Some local officers were paid off to look the other way for a crucial 3-hour window. The attack route was carefully chosen, a remote mountain pass rarely traveled and deemed a blind spot by Mexican intelligence. To the cartel, everything appeared flawless, an illusion of perfection. Inside the lead command vehicle, the capo gripped the radio tightly, his voice low as he muttered, "15 minutes from now, the perfect plan will become reality." The radio crackled, followed by a wave of dry laughter spreading from vehicle to vehicle. In Culiacan, cartel bosses lounged in a cigar-smoke-filled room, their eyes fixed on an electronic map tracking the convoy's every move. One whispered, "Perfect. No one can stop us." But reality was far from what they imagined. At an altitude of 7,000 meters, an unmarked MQ-9 Reaper silently circled its presence, undetectable. It emitted no signals, reflected no radar, completely invisible. Its infrared sensors worked tirelessly, scanning the landscape below and painting a crystal-clear thermal picture. 20 glowing trails cutting through the night, the roar of diesel engines, and the heat signatures of hundreds of people packed within the convoy. Every 8 seconds, the Reaper sent a data packet to San Diego, precise GPS coordinates, speed real-time imagery, every detail meticulously tagged and cross-referenced. Nothing was overlooked. Deep within an underground command bunker, U.S. officers watched in silence. A red message flashed across their screens, target acquired. One officer smirked, leaning back in his chair. Their perfect plan. Just our perfect trap. Meanwhile, the convoy pressed forward, tires grinding over gravel engines thundering as they echoed off the canyon walls. The sicarios, caught in their confidence, believed victory was just moments away. In truth, every word spoken over the cartel's radios had been intercepted by U.S. SIGINT forces. Every movement, every route, all laid bare in the hands of their enemies. At a nearby pass, a Navy SEAL team had been waiting for 36 hours, expertly camouflaged, their silenced M4A1 rifles trained on the road. Along the route, Claymore mines had been carefully placed, waiting to strike. Behind them, two AH-64 Apache helicopters, lights off and engines primed, hovered in the darkness. At the forward base, JLTVs carrying Switchblade UAVs had already locked in the coordinates. The stage was set. The cartel had called it the perfect plan, but in reality they were walking straight into the perfect trap. As the last wheel of the convoy rolled into the pass, the gates of death were closing, no escape. The Sonora Desert remained eerily silent, its stillness broken only by the distant roar of the convoy's engines. But inside the San Diego command bunker, that silence shattered. On the control screens, 20 glowing red streaks appeared on the infrared imagery, sharp and unmistakable. These weren't civilian vehicles nor small-time smugglers. This was a full-scale armed assault. 20 armored pickup trucks, over 150 Sicarios machine guns, RPGs, and C4 explosives. The cartel's perfect plan, one they had trusted implicitly, had been fully exposed. The MQ-9 Reaper hovered at an altitude of over 7,000 meters, motionless, silent, not firing, just watching. Every 8 seconds, an encrypted data packet is transmitted: thermal images, GPS coordinates, speed, direction. The data is instantly cross-referenced with ground radar. The convoy's route is laid out clearly on the map, each red dot moving steadily like prey under a magnifying glass. In the command bunker, U.S. officers sit in eerie silence, their eyes fixed on the screens. No noise, no chaos, only the steady ticking of the countdown clock. On the map, a red circle is drawn, a kill box, positioned at the narrow road near the Arizona border. Once the convoy enters, every escape route will be sealed. The order was given without hesitation. On the mountainside, the SEAL team remained perfectly still beneath their camouflage netting fingers, poised on the triggers of their silenced M4A1 rifles. Claymore mines were strategically placed along the path, set to explode at the slightest trigger. In the rear, Switchblade drones were mounted on launchers, their propellers spinning softly in the dark, waiting to be unleashed. Low in the sky, two Apaches, lights off, and engines rumbling faintly, hovered, ready for the single code that would send their firepower raining down. Farther back, HIMARS rocket artillery had locked in the coordinates cleverly concealed beneath the desert's natural camouflage. The cartel convoy pressed forward, maintaining a tight 40-meter gap, engines echoing off the jagged rock walls. On the UAV screen, the convoy appeared as a long, orderly line, a parade in the darkness. Every detail radiated the confidence of their perfect plan. The electronic map ticked down the seconds, 3 minutes, until the entire formation crossed into the kill box. In the command bunker, not a single officer looked away from the screens. Every eye was locked on the 20 red dots inching closer to the trap. The UAV signal confirmed the target was just 2 kilometers from the kill box. Switchblades launched, skimming low over the sand, their engines humming, ready to dive. The Apaches tilted their noses down pilots' hands, hovering over the fire control panels, waiting for the precise moment to strike. The cartel convoy rumbled into the pass tires, grinding against the jagged rocks, the sound echoing sharply through the stillness. The entire formation now occupied the narrow road. On the screen, the red dots converged within the kill box, and the trap was set. The perfect plan had reached its final moments. Only one command remained. At 5:42 a.m. on August 25th, the eastern sky was still cloaked in deep darkness, a faint glow barely visible beyond the mountains. In the narrow pass near the Arizona border, the air hung heavy with tension, broken only by the roar of diesel engines from the 20 armored pickup trucks. The Sinaloa cartel's convoy was fully contained within the kill box. At exactly 5:42 and 13 seconds, a single encrypted command cut through the air execute. Instantly, the first wave of firepower was unleashed. From the mountainside, 3 Switchblade UAVs plummeted, crashing into the convoy with deadly precision. The first drone struck the windshield of the lead command vehicle, detonating on impact and transforming the cabin into a raging fireball. The shockwave sent nearby Sicarios flying, the vehicle grinding to a halt, blocking the rest of the convoy. In mere seconds, the head of the snake was severed. The trailing vehicles tried to swerve, but the narrow pass offered no escape. They collided in a chaotic, deadly pileup. The second wave of firepower hit without warning. Dozens of Claymore mines strategically placed along the path exploded in unison, releasing over 4,000 steel balls that ripped through the air like a deadly storm. The projectiles tore into armor, shredding everything within 50 meters. Explosions erupted in a brutal chain reaction, flashes lighting up the night. One vehicle was thrown into the air, flipping and bursting into flames. The sound of screams mixed with the sharp crackle of sporadic gunfire. But any Sicario who dared to emerge from the wreckage was immediately cut down by the precise fire of SEAL snipers perched above their shots, landing with deadly accuracy. Before the cartel could even begin to recover, the third wave of firepower descended with deadly precision. From the low sky, 2 Apaches materialized like shadowy phantoms. In an instant, 4 Hellfire missiles were launched, slamming into the heart of the convoy. One missile struck a vehicle loaded with ammunition, detonating in a massive fireball that triggered a series of secondary explosions as hundreds of rounds and RPGs on board ignited. Red flames surged upward, black smoke spiraled into the sky, casting an eerie glow over the road like daylight. Nearby vehicles were consumed by the flames in a rapid chain reaction, creating a relentless sea of fire that blocked the pass. In less than 120 seconds, the cartel's formation was completely obliterated. Surviving Sicarios attempted to flee to the flanks, but their movements only made them easier targets. From above, the SEALs fired with pinpoint accuracy, each burst deliberate and lethal, wasting not a single round. One Sicario leapt from a cabin clutching an RPG, but was struck by 2 bullets to the chest, collapsing instantly. Another group tried to scramble up the mountainside to mount a counterattack, but they were decimated by a hail of M240 machine gun fire from pre-positioned emplacements. In less than 2 minutes after the command, the cartel convoy was reduced to a smoldering graveyard. 15 vehicles lay in ruins, completely destroyed, while 5 others were engulfed in fierce flames. Over 100 Sicarios were either dead or critically wounded. The few survivors crawled through the sand, choking on the thick smoke. But from the distance, another roar grew louder. A barrage of HIMARS rockets tore through the sky, crashing into the pass's only exit. The last remaining escape route became an inferno. All hope for survival evaporated. The air was thick with the stench of gunpowder, black smoke, and burning flesh. Do you support this battle? If yes, comment the number 2. If not, comment the number 5. In the kill box, there was no longer a formation. No plan, only pure chaos. The cartel had called it the perfect plan, but it had now become the perfect trap. The order was clear. Sweep and clear. The SEAL team descended, moving through the dust like silent phantoms. They advanced in tight formation, weapons ready, scanning every direction. Every heat signature picked up by the UAV was thoroughly checked. Any Sicario still alive and moving was swiftly neutralized. No negotiation, no warning. In the darkness, only short-controlled bursts of gunfire echoed through the air. A fuel truck burned violently, flames soaring high into the sky, casting an eerie glow. The firelight danced on the cold faces of the SEALs above. The Apaches circled, poised to launch more missiles if resistance was encountered, but there was nothing left to fight. The cartel formation had been obliterated in under 180 seconds. By 5:48 a.m., the sporadic explosions died down, leaving only the lingering smoke and the crackling sound of burning ammunition and smoldering vehicle wreckage. In the command bunker, a message flashed across the screen: target neutralized. The preliminary report summarized the outcome: 20 armored vehicles destroyed or incinerated, over 120 Sicarios killed on the spot, more than 30 others wounded, captured, or missing. No U.S. casualties. Above infrared cameras captured the aftermath: a convoy once hailed as the perfect plan, now reduced to a smoldering junkyard. The desert was bathed in firelight, with black smoke spiraling into towering columns rising tens of kilometers into the sky. In just 3 minutes, a plan the cartel had boasted about for months was completely wiped out. From the perfect plan to the perfect failure. More than that, it became a brutal message. No plan is perfect when facing the United States. At 5:50 a.m. on August 25th, the Sonora Desert still burned red with flames, black smoke twisting into columns that rose hundreds of meters high. The remnants of the perfect plan lay scattered across the landscape: blackened steel frames, melted tires, and piles of charred armored pickup trucks. The ground was strewn with RPG fragments, shattered ammunition crates, and scorched body armor. Over 150 Sicarios, once fierce and heavily armed, now lay motionless, nothing more than dark shadows on the sand. As the sun began to rise, the battlefield fell into an unsettling silence. No gunfire, only an eerie stillness. Vultures began circling overhead, a grim reminder of the brutal truth: the Sinaloa cartel's most elite force had been erased in mere minutes. The material damage was estimated at over $40 million. 20 armored vehicles destroyed tons of weapons, and C4 explosives turned to ash. The entire attacking force had either been killed or captured. But the greater loss was one of prestige. The plan the cartel had proudly boasted about for months, arrogantly calling it perfect, was now nothing more than a bloody joke. In Culiacan, the cartel bosses sat in silence, offering no statements, no explanations. Their telegram propaganda channels, once flooded with boasts, were eerily quiet. The families of the Sicarios received no news, no bodies, no funerals, only a crushing absence. Meanwhile, the Mexican media remained silent. Local newspapers reported nothing about the ambush, and Sonora authorities quietly labeled it as a vehicle collision to conceal the truth. But commercial satellite images showing black smoke rising from the border quickly spread, and the world knew a silent night had wiped out an entire armed wing of the cartel. The perfect plan had morphed into the perfect silence. No more threats, no more narco songs. Only an eerie, haunting void remained. The cartel learned a bitter lesson. When you enter America's kill box, no one escapes. As dawn broke over the Sonora Desert, black smoke still spiraled from the smoldering ruins. No gunfire, no engines, only a haunting silence. And within that silence, a message was etched deep. The Sinaloa cartel's perfect plan had never existed. It was an illusion, and in just 3 minutes that illusion had turned to ash. The greatest lesson wasn't in the number of vehicles destroyed or Sicarios killed, it was in the stark gap between perception and reality. The cartel had believed that darkness, money, and arrogance could shield them. But the U.S. proved that in the age of modern warfare, darkness offers no sanctuary. With electronic eyes in the sky, special forces concealed in the sand, and the flawless coordination of UAVs, rocket artillery, and helicopters, the cartel's misplaced confidence was transformed into a deadly trap. The perfect plan became a textbook example of asymmetric warfare. The U.S. didn't need nuclear bombs, hundreds of tanks, or an entire division. A few dozen special forces, a handful of small UAVs, and patience were all it took to obliterate a multi-million-dollar assault. The cost of the ambush was less than 5% of the cartel's losses. That disparity was the true power. But more than anything, it delivered a clear message. No plan is perfect when facing the discipline, technology, and resolve of the United States. The message was clear. Any attack, no matter how meticulously calculated, can become a grave for its masterminds. And even the most notorious criminal organizations cannot outmatch the all-seeing eyes and iron hand that guard the border. As the sun rose fully over the horizon, the Sonora Desert returned to its usual stillness. But this silence was different. It wasn't peace. It was a warning. A warning that anyone daring to call their plan perfect when facing the U.S. will meet only one outcome: a perfect trap. The story of the Sinaloa Cartel's perfect plan quickly became a stark reminder of the difference between illusion and reality. The cartel was absolutely certain their plan for the night of August 25th was flawless. 20 armored pickup trucks, over 150 heavily armed sicarios, a meticulously calculated route, bribed border cameras, and a safe patrol window. But in 3 minutes, it all turned to ash. The silent MQ-9 Reaper, hovering at 7,000 meters, its infrared sensors transmitting data every 8 seconds, exposed the entire perfect plan. The SEAL team, patiently waiting in the pass for 36 hours, along with Switchblades, Claymores, Apaches, and HIMARS, transformed the Sonora Desert into a death box. Those details aren't just technical descriptions, they are a declaration. The U.S. relies not only on firepower, but on intelligence, discipline, and flawless coordination. The collapse of the Sinaloa Cartel in the Sonora Desert serves as a powerful lesson. No plan is invincible when faced with meticulous preparation, advanced technology, and flawless coordination. The cartel was confident in their armored vehicles, heavy weapons, and bribes, but in just 3 minutes they were ensnared in America's deadly trap. This serves as a reminder that in the modern world, intelligence, discipline, and superior technology will always triumph over arrogance. Comment your thoughts on this lesson. As dawn broke over the Sonora Desert, the column of black smoke still rose, marking the fall of the Sinaloa Cartel's so-called perfect plan. From 20 armored vehicles and over 150 elite sicarios, only smoldering ruins and an eerie silence remained, a testament to the fact that no plan can outmatch America's all-seeing eyes and iron hand. But the question remains, is this the end of the cartel's ambitions or just the beginning of a new tense chapter? What do you think of this battle? Can America's technology and coordination stop future threats? Leave a comment, share your thoughts, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more gripping stories.